If you've lately had to wait, yesterday we had to wait a long time for our bags, that is probably demography, because those jobs are typically done by younger people. We don't have as many of those.
Yeah.
We don't have as many of those. And there's a certain degree of, as you've mentioned before, people don't want to work outside. I don't want to throw bags for a living. And so
as there are fewer people to take those jobs, the people in that range can become pickier about the jobs they take.
Yeah. And I don't want to work for this airline. This airline gives me better, and they get more pricing power. And so that's the flip side of a lot of these healthcare organizations that we work in that are benefiting from a changing demography and aging population, bringing them more customers. At the same time, they're unable in today's job market, to pay their workers as little as they've been paying. Because people, for a variety of reasons, basically post-COVID in a tight labor market, were able to move to better jobs. And so the days of being able to pay an entry-level worker $13, we're in Texas, $13 to $14, those days are over. And you're having to pay more like $16 or $17 for your front desk, your medical assistants, the basic front line workers in a healthcare organization. Your costs of running those businesses, your personnel costs have gone way up because of, and again, these are big simplifications. Each part of the country will feel this a little bit differently at different times. But as a general rule, we're probably entering a time period where we're going to have tighter labor markets because we're not letting in as many people for immigration as we had before, and our birth rate is below replacement.
I would say yes, except for that AI, I think, threw a bit of a wrench into that. For certain industries so far.
Yeah, that you might be able to use AI, like, for example, call centers.
Or coding.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could squint at it and see almost a best-case scenario of at a time when our productivity as a country would have gone down because we didn't have enough workers. If everything worked out perfectly, which it won't, it's possible that AI could help in enough areas where we make up for our deficiency.
Right. It may not be balanced ultimately. Like now, unemployment's up a little higher. I think it was like at 4.4, which is it's higher. And some of that is because of the AI that's coming in, but these, so we don't know really where it's going to settle out, but it looks like they're kind of counterbalancing each other for the most part right now.
Tell them about how young people not drinking and being smaller and not drinking as much has changed some of the things that you do.
Okay. So one of the things that my family is involved in is something that's called Motorcycle Week. And so the motorcyclist enthusiasts all over the country go to these different places. Daytona's number one, Sturgis number two, although those numbers are iffy because Sturgis downplays and Daytona overplays. And then historically, Laconia, which is where I'm from, was number three. But the thing about Laconia is it is the oldest motorcycle event in the nation. So well over 100 years. And so it's been 100 years of handing off generation to generation, really without a hitch.
Yeah, probably 5 handoffs.
Right. So I went up last year, and what I saw was the next generation not picking it up. And part of that is because this generation is the offspring of COVID. And it's a generation that got used to socializing on a computer. And I think to some degree, it looks like they have some anxiety because they never had the opportunity, or the opportunity that they had to be in school and actually figure out social circumstances got interrupted. And if you don't ever have the opportunity to realize that you can handle things, you are more likely to have some anxiety about handling things. And then I go into liquor stores and I read articles about beer companies because there are things about motorcycle events that are sort of
Hallmarks.
yeah, hallmarks. And beer is one of them. Like, it's a party. And most people, when they party, historically, have had alcohol. And so when you read articles about the major alcohol companies and you go into liquor stores and see 50% of the liquor store being an alternative to alcohol, you realize something is happening, that this next generation is legitimately, it's not a rumor, they are legitimately at this moment in time not picking up the trends. And then it makes motorcycle events and events like that less appealing because one of the hallmarks they're not super interested in.
Yeah, so you have to change your strategy. That's demography.
Right.
And it sneaks up on you until it hits you over the head. And the point of this podcast is try to think about it before you have to think about it.
To the extent that you can.
If you're late, everybody else around you.
Well, and that's my problem with having been up there. So, you know, the explanation that was being floated by people who are continually in these events around the nation is, oh, well, this year is the big one for this particular
other
like they're having
having
the 100th this year,
or
they're having the 85th
that's
this
why
year.
We're down.
And that's, I'm telling you, a pile of poop, because there's always an event that's having a 0 or a 5 in its anniversary, always. And it's pretty clear with the crowd, we're not really not getting that younger generation. And so that's been one of my tasks this year, is thinking through how do we make that bridge?
And what some of your brainstorms as possible new strategies besides doubling down on party and beer and booze?
So,
because that's not working.
Yeah. I mean, you got to still serve the market you have.
Yeah, sure.
So,
right. Yeah.
And it's not clear that ultimately they won't come out of their homes and eventually engage. And weirdly, it's probably the social anxiety to some degree that drives the drinking to some degree. So they may come out of their homes and actually wind up right back where the other generations have been.
Maybe.
But what do they do? And so like they like things online where like they form these communities. They actually want connection. And so it's trying to figure out how to create a physical event with connection. And there are examples out there, Comic-Con.
Yeah.
You know, we are doing boxing. We do have the bikes who like do the drag racing. Like we fell into this. We had some young person. So again, it may be led by the people of that generation. We had a young person who definitely does risk assessments differently than the rest of us. And he's like, I want to like do burnouts and like stunts,
race my bike
with bikes and have a bunch of people doing that. And so,
and he's a young guy.
Yeah, he's 20-ish, something like that.
So in the target.
And so it's
market.
Him, all his friends and all their friends. And so we're looking for those things that basically will appeal to that age group, including music. Like I've had a conversation with the person who is running the beer tent, and I'm like, we can't
just be playing Bob Seger.
Well, it's not Bob Seger. It's Creedence Clearwater. We can't continue to just be like Creedence Clearwater. We actually have to figure out like what that next level of biker is interested in for music.